court, all stand please. In the Supreme Court of Western Australia, in the matter of Tate and O'Reilly, Judge Hall presiding.
Mr. Davidson.
Your Honour, my name is Davidson. I appeal with my learned junior Rich for the prosecution.
Thank you. Mr. Pack.
Your Honour. Your Honour, it pleases the court, Gemma Little with my learned junior Samuel Pack for the defence.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Davidson.
Your Honour, the accused Dwayne O'Reilly stands charged of conspiring to commit an indictable offence, a crime, under section 558 of the Criminal Code of Western Australia. The prosecution will prove that the conspiracy in question was to stage a fake robbery and make it look as realistic as possible, allowing the accused's alleged fellow co-conspirator, Ms. Jacqueline Neville, to claim workers' compensation from Mr. Joseph Lowe, who, as the owner of the Gingin Gulls service station, was her employer. It is, of course, a right of every worker in Western Australia to claim workers' compensation from their employer for injuries sustained in the course of their employment. Thus, the relevant indictable offence is fraud under section 409 of the Criminal Code, and particularly subsection C, where it is a crime with intent to defraud by deceit or any fraudulent means to gain a benefit, pecuniary or otherwise, for any person. The pecuniary benefit gained from Mr. Joseph Lowe, as the charge sheet states, was that workers' compensation. The prosecution will prove from the evidence that the accused became friends with Mr. Duggan and Ms. Neville, his co-conspirators who have already pleaded guilty to attempted fraud, that the accused knew about the dire financial circumstances facing his co-conspirators, that he was involved right from the beginning in discussions on how they could defraud various parties by claiming compensation, including, crucially, claiming workers' compensation. He willingly agreed to be a part of the conspiracy on the 26th of February 2012 by volunteering to be the fake robber and do those acts that would provide Ms. Jacqueline Neville with a basis for claiming compensation. That he agreed to do those acts, and in fact did those acts, in the knowledge that what he was doing was unlawful, and that what he was doing was part of a broader conspiracy to which he had already agreed to contribute. And that he did acts specifically designed to make it look like that Ms. Jacqueline Neville had been roughed up, to use the language of the witnesses, and received injuries during the course of her employment, so as to maximise her chances of successfully claiming workers' compensation. The prosecution will call two witnesses to support our contentions. Firstly, Ms. Sharon Tate, the former girlfriend of the accused, will testify as to the nature of the conspiracy that was formed on the 26th of February 2012, and that it specifically included plans to claim workers' compensation. Secondly, Mr. Reginald Duggan, one of the alleged fellow co-conspirators of the accused, will corroborate the testimony of Ms. Tate. He will also testify as to the willingness of the accused to assist him and Ms. Neville to effect the criminal purpose that they all agreed to. He will further testify as to how he provided the necessary implements for the accused to make it look like that a realistic robbery had occurred during the course of her employment, providing her with a basis on which to claim workers' compensation and the subsequent benefit from Mr. Joseph Lowe. Thus, at the end of this trial, Your Honour, you will be left with no reasonable doubt, according to the submission of the prosecution, that the acts of the accused were done in pursuance of the criminal purpose of unlawfully gaining workers' compensation, held in common as a conspiracy between him, Mr. Duggan, and Ms. Neville. If Your Honour has no further questions, we will commence with calling witnesses for the prosecution.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Your Honour.
Yes, you may call the first witness.
We call Ms. Sharon Tate. 23, 16 Glengarry Drive, Kelmscott in Western Australia, that you are a homemaker and that you are 23 years old.
Yes, I am Sharon Madeline Tate of Unit 23, 16 Glengarry Drive.
Thank you. Thank you for confirming those details. Ms. Tate, what happened in January 2012?
Sometime during January, Dwayne and I went to a party in a house in High Wycombe, and at that party we were introduced to Reginald Duggan and Jacqueline Neville.
And how did your relationship with Mr. Duggan and Ms. Neville develop?
We became friends with Reg and Jackie over the few weeks because we saw them quite often.
So what happened on the night in February that Mr. Duggan and Ms. Jackie came over?
Reg and Jackie were over at our place and they come over for a few drinks just to catch up. While I was getting some drinks in the kitchen, Jackie and Reg started talking to Dwayne about an idea they had to get out of their financial problems.
Now, did Ms. Neville mention anything at that point about the nature of her occupation that evening?
Jackie said she was the night manager of the gold service station in Virginia.
Thank you. And what was the plan that Ms. Neville and Mr. Duggan formed and invited the accused to join?
Jackie and Reg were
That was the leading question from the prosecution.
In what sense?
He asked her what was the plan formed.
So assumes that there was a plan.
Indeed.
Yes, it was leading.
Your Honour, I'll rephrase them. Ms. Tate, could you please describe the conversation that then occurred between Ms. Neville and Mr. Duggan?
Jackie and Reg reckon that if someone pretended to rob the service station while she was working and rounded her up, they could get some compensation.
And was the accused involved in this at all?
Yes. They said they needed someone to play the robber and asked Dwayne if he could do it.
So, what was the nature of the benefit that Ms. Neville and Mr. Duggan said that they intended to derive?
They said they wanted to get criminal injuries and workers' compensation.
Thank you. So, what was the response of the accused to the suggestion of Ms. Neville and Mr. Duggan?
Dwayne said he wanted to help them and it was a really good idea.
Thank you. So, what was organised for the accused?
Reg said that he would organise a balaclava, some weapons and gloves for Dwayne, and he would drive us up to Gin Gin.
So, this fake robbery, when was it planned for?
It was organised for the 15th of March last year.
And on that day, what actually happened?
So on that day, Reg came to pick us up in his valiant ute.
And did Mr. Duggan, that is Reg, bring anything with him?
He had with him a flannel shirt, some wool gloves, a balaclava, a box cutter, and he gave it to Dwayne, sorry.
What happened next, Ms. Tate?
Dwayne and I got into ute and we drove to Gin Gin. When we arrived at Gin Gin, we went straight to Reg and Jackie's house in Oak Lane. It was about 6 p.m. and Jackie had already gone to work.
Now, did the accused and Mr. Duggan then leave immediately?
No, we had a couple of drinks and some refreshments first. After about 2 hours, Dwayne put on all the equipment and the boys left. We were just you.
Thank you. Did anyone come back for you?
Objection, Your Honour. On the grounds of relevance, the prosecution brings a charge tonight of conspiracy. That conspiracy was allegedly formed on the 26th of February. These relate to events on the 15th of March leading up to the alleged offence. I'm not entirely the alleged robbery. I'm not entirely sure how it relates to the prosecution's charge.
Well, we'll find out, shall we? What's the relevance of this?
We say the events that occurred on the 15th of March are evidence of the plan that was put into motion and the intent that was formed on the 26th of February. It's highly relevant, Your Honour.
So it's evidence of the carrying out of the conspiracy.
Correct.
Yes, I would doubt.
Thank you. So, to rephrase the question, did anyone come back to pick you up, Ms. Tate?
Yeah, about half an hour, Reg came back.
Now, what happened next?
When we left
stops on the way back to Perth?
We made 2 stops, first just outside of Gingin, and then further down the road.
And what happened when you made these stops?
At the stop in Gingin, we picked up Dwayne, and further down the road, when we stopped again, Dwayne threw his shirt, gloves, and plowed into the bush, and then we returned to Perth.
Thank you. And finally, what is your current relationship with the accused, Ms. Tate?
We've broken up. We broke up a couple of weeks after the incident, and I haven't spoken to him since June 2012.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. Your Honour, I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Ms. Tate, you state that on the 15th of March, you had some refreshments at Mr. Dugan and Ms. Neville's house, is that correct?
Yes.
And by refreshments, you mean you took heroin, is that correct?